What's up, y'all? Once again, it's BadNewsBrown breaking it down. Before I get started, go ahead and hit that like or dislike. Well, you ain't even seen the video yet, so don't hit the dislike. But you know what I'm talking about. And please subscribe. So today, y'all, well, this story gonna be it's gonna be a little twist to it. But I was slapping some Mac Dre, old school Mac Dre earlier. Mac Mall and Mac Dre, that PIMP shiznit. And real quick before I even get started on that, I think Mac Dre probably the first rapper I think that will actually rap from jail. Y'all let me know in the comments. So anyway, this story is going to be a little bit about how the Nortenes and the Woods and the Skins was getting into it in DVI, the prison, Tracy, dual vocational institution. So, and if it's your first time seeing me, I talk about a lot of stuff, but today is going to be a prison story. But so if you didn't know, I discharged a P number in the California State Prison, CDC. I spent a lot of my early part of my life in and out them pens and stuff, so that makes me qualified to speak a little bit about it. So anyway, let me break it down. So like I mentioned before, I did some time in DVI Tracy. Now, DVI Tracy at this time was a reception center. So a reception center, if you don't know, is basically the first prison you go to before they determine what other prison you're going to go to and do the rest of your time. Now, some cases you may get what they call endorsed there, where you just stay at that reception center and do your time. Now, most reception centers going to have a small main line because most of the inmates there are, reception inmates or convicts or whatever. So anyway, now this story, while I was in a reception center, now I mentioned before, the brothers in the Serranos on that main line had like an hour-long riot, not a melee, a riot. So at that time when I first got there, it was on lockdown, the whole prison. So where the guards, the COs had to bring us our food, which they don't like doing. That makes them work. Like I said before, if you don't know, the COs don't like to do nothing but just turn keys and count. But anyway, so I get there, the prison on lockdown, but eventually, maybe a week or two, if that, it come back off lockdown. So now we off lockdown, and we finally gotta go to trial actually. So on the way to trial, I noticed that they had all of the wood skins, the whites. Now, when you walking through trial, I was in DVI at this time. I was in H wing. So anyway, when you're walking through the corridors, if you're in Tracy, you walk through these corridors or whatever. So when you get to certain points of the corridors, there's like pods, with the see-through glass with bunks and stuff where, where inmates can do. So anyway, I noticed they got all the woods right there. So while we walking, and we look at them, I noticed that all the woods would going out their way to speak to me, to speak to the brothers. You look at them, they saying, what's up? They, so, I don't say what's up, but, we just keep pushing. So finally, when we go sit down to eat, the Nortenes let us know, like, hey, man, the woods, they shooting, darts and stuff at them, I guess, while they walking past. So I guess for some reason they was having a little friction or whatever. So we like, oh, okay, or whatnot. They put us up on it. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's what's going on between them. But anyway, eventually end up getting endorsed there. Now keep in mind, I mentioned that they had the whole riot between the brothers, us and the Serranos on the main line. Now, this didn't too much carry over into the reception, and that's because they always keep the Serranos separate again, because Tracy is a up north prison. So those that don't know that, a lot of these up north prisons in county jails, the Serranos can't be on the main line with us in the Northeast, as you would know. But anyway, so I get endorsed there eventually. So I get endorsed there now. For some reason or whatever, I guess the static between the Woods and the Nortenes had died out for a minute. So I'm there, we doing time in DVI. Now eventually I get a job at the law library. And excuse me, I got the job at the law library. So being at the law library put me in a unique position, being that I had access to all the inmates, reception and mainline. So a lot of intel was being had to go through us. I'm just gonna put it like that. So eventually a shot get called from the hole from one of them groups that, hey man, y'all need to fire that back up, so to speak. So eventually that's what ended up happening, and that's the trip. And that's the thing in prison, y'all, how that goes. Now here you on the main line, and brothers are a group, and you ain't even got to be nothing to do with that group or whatever. Hey, send word to y'all like, hey, y'all need to do this. What would you do? Y'all let me know in the comments. You know, I ain't gonna go too much about all that because that's beyond the scope of this video. But eventually, a shot get called. So the Woods actually kick it off first. And now this wasn't no riot. These was like skirmishes. Keep in mind, it's on a small main line, so it wasn't really like they all rushed, because it didn't happen like that. They just actually were just sending torpedoes at each other. So the Woods sends torpedoes, like 3 torpedoes or whatever. Bam, 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 bam. They go in a hole. So I'm not sure what happened. We was on lockdown for a little bit, not long. As soon as we get off, the Nortenos strike, bam. And it was a trip because during this time, the Nortenos, they actually had a black Norteno. And if you don't know, there are black Nortenos on that main line. And I remember when he first got there, they tried to put him on a black bunk. And the brothers was like, nah, you know, he got to go on a Norteno bunk. You know, just normally just because of the head count. So anyway, so when the Nortenos hit, as soon as we come back off lockdown, bam, they send their torpedoes, bam, 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 bam. So now that's over with, so to speak. Now we get off lockdown again, so it's kind of back to regular programming. Now it's, you know, peacetime, the usual prison wheeling and dealing. It's a few in-house skirmishes, but you know, nothing major regarding other groups. So finally, some of the people who was on lockdown on one of them skirmishes get out, you know, and they back on the main line. Now I'm working at the law library. Now one of the dudes that got out was a Wood or a Skin. He was from like American Canyon / Napa area. And those who don't know that, that's like the Northern Bay area right above Vallejo. Napa, you heard of the whole wine or whatnot. But anyway, so he was from that way. So now we all in the law library or whatnot. Now, he being from the Bay Area, of course, we in DVI Tracy, and we all talking about some females brawl, some shit, you know. And so he started talking about the X-Rated song. I guess X-Rated got a song when he talking about you know, the Prison Tracy, MACAFRAMALAMA or whatever. So he say that little bar, and at this time I heard of X-Rated, but I never heard that. So I'm like, oh, for real, man, who say that? He like, oh yeah, rapper X-Rated. You heard him? I'm like, oh, okay. You know, so he rapping that. I'm like, yeah, we at Tracy though. It was funny, you know. So then he started talking about Mac Dre, and I'm like, nah, I don't really listen to Mac Dre. Like, and this is funny. I'm gonna break that down. I told him, of course, we heard of Mac Dre, and my favorite song of Mac Dre was that old school, like I said earlier, the him and Mac Mall, the pimp shit. But as far as me being from Oakland, and it was a certain part in Oakland. Oakland had so many rappers. A lot of people from the town didn't too much listen. I mean, we listened to E40, but didn't too much listen to a lot of other people. That's why when you talk about, and I can break that whole down in another video, that's why you may hear some people out this way didn't even really listen to Master P when he was out this way from the Bay, from Richmond. Not on no haterism stuff, but Oakland had so much going on. You didn't even have to go, even though that's that close, you didn't even have to go that far, that close to listen to another rapper. We have so much going on. So anyway, and Mac Dre was I talk a cat off a fish whack, and I forgot what bar. You know, I'm like, oh, Mac Dre got bars. Okay, well, she was putting me up on Mac Dre or whatever, you know. So and dude, you know, it's funny how in the politics he did a little move as far as excuse me, he did a little move as far as to let us know that he wasn't really with the racial assault gang shit, because one day we was in the main line, we be gambling, spades, cards, dice, whatever. Even the board game Risk, the little military game. And I think we was about to play that. We got big bag of shit, the whole pot, nigga, winner take all. So he like, yeah, I'm about to play. So he went and got one of his wood potters to play with him. The wood potter see that it was us. He like, hell no. So if you don't know, certain races, like, we can't exchange tobacco, we can't borrow stuff from each other, we make it speak lightly, but we can't play games or interact with each other, For ours, the politics is just the rules, that simple. So anyway, but he played anyway with us, of course, and of course, the game didn't play that long, but he ended up getting fake weight DP'd, when he had to do some, workout DP, but he knew that, and he knew the DP wasn't about to be too harsh because he didn't already prove he was ready to ride for that car anyway, his little group anyway. So I guess he just did that just to do it, kind of let us know, like, whatever, but they just thought that was funny. But he actually put me up. I ain't gonna say put me up because I've been heard of Mac Dre, of course, heard of certain songs, but he actually really just got me looking at Mac Dre. As far as that, I ain't gonna lie, because that's all he was rapping. It was Mac Dre at that time, some X-rated, of course, the Northern Cali, North Bay.